Well, the other day, I think I mentioned to you guys that I was going to look at some property with my boss in up in Tennessee, and we did go and look. We left on a Thursday morning real early, and got there that night, you know, later on in the day, and then next day we spent basically looking at properties. We looked at enough properties the next day, which was Friday, that we didn't even have to stick around Saturday and look at more. We kind of saw what was out there in that area and kind of made up our mind. We saw one we kind of liked, didn't end up working out, so we're looking further north, which is ironic because some of the good properties that we saw that we now like are, you know, pretty close to Pastor Dowell's area. So that's even cooler, because where we were looking before was like Chattanooga area to the west of that and slightly north. So it's still a good bit away from Pastor Dowell and them, but now we may be real close if we end up getting some. And then land's cheap. I mean, there's stuff out there for, you know, 20 or 30 acres for 30K. You know what I mean? 15 to 20 acres, I should say, for about 30K, 35K. So anyways, I mentioned to you that I told my boss, hey, if we're gonna go look at 15, 20, 30 acres when we're out here, man, we may need a couple of four-wheelers to really look at the property, you know? So he ended up borrowing one from a friend of his, let him borrow one. And I was looking on Craigslist, and man, there was a cheap one that was in mint condition, four-wheel drive, fully automatic, Polaris, 2001. It was called a Magnum 325. I wanted something with a smaller engine because I want something that I don't have to constantly put gas in to go riding. And second of all, it was strictly to go look at this property. But after taking the kids on it and stuff, man, my kids love that thing. And the trailer, I got a nice tilt bed, hydraulic tilt bed trailer for $400. It's like a 12x7 or something. I mean, these two things kind of fell in my lap almost on the same day. And the four-wheeler was $1,800. Again, it was like mint condition, even though it was a 2001. It was never ridden. Beautiful. Matter of fact, you can't see it, but it's behind me right now. I'm towing it to the auction. Why am I towing it to the auction? Because my boss, who has a second business doing like metal work and metal fabrication, that kind of thing, we've been discussing, you know, as Gerald Celente says, current events form future trends. And based on current things happening, there is a demand for people who want a bug out location, not close to a city, and from 1 acre to several acres to 20, 30, 40, 100 acres, whatever they feel that they want. And I made a few phone calls just asking about the property that I had in question. This was the first time we went to Tennessee, which was basically last week. And that's what I'm referring to. Not last week, but the week before, technically. So I just made a phone call. Hey, I'm calling about this property. I never said anything about being a prepper or where, you know, my boss wants to build these shipping container homes that are in high demand right now. You know, didn't say none of that. I was just calling to ask about the property. He says to me, are you, by chance, you guys what they call preppers or whatever? I was like, well, no, not necessarily. I had to explain, my boss and I have been thinking about getting into building those items for the prepper community. And of course, I think we want one on our own property, by the way, and that kind of thing. So he's like, oh man, I get calls. That's the kind of person I'm getting calls from now. They want something out in the wilderness kind of thing, you know, and they, you know, he's like, man, we could possibly work together. And, you know, we got the land package. You guys have those house things, whatever, the container houses. Man, we could probably put something together for some of these people. And we're like, yeah, hey, that's cool. Yeah, that would be fantastic, as a matter of fact. So my boss decides, well, if we're going to do this, I need to go get one of these 20-foot shipping containers. And they do make 40-footers, but we're dealing with 20-footers. He says, I need to kind of make a prototype of what, you know, so we can figure out what are the real costs, insulating it, putting a basic furniture, whatever, in the thing, a little sink, etc. And so I said, man, yeah, let's go check out the auction on Saturday, which happened to be that before we went to Tennessee, the week before that. Let's go check out the auction. They've got all kinds of stuff there. I was just on the website, and we can go, you know, hit it up. I saw that there were some containers. All right, so I go down there, we meet down there, And there, he ends up bidding and winning one of them for like $1,700, I think. He had a trailer, so he was able to pull it back on his, he's got a dually truck, so there's no problem. And he's now working on that as we speak, as a matter of fact. They're stripping it down right now, sandblasting it, getting it ready, etc. Well, while I was there, I see a four-wheeler. Lo and behold, it's the same year as mine, it's the same exact model as mine, except mine's got really nice camo fenders and stuff, you know, on it. Whereas this one was gray, the paint was all cracked and chipped, the clear coat was peeling off, definitely needed to be redone. It had 3 terrible condition tires, 1 new tire, so you'd have to replace all 3. It's fully electric, automatic, except it had a 500cc motor. My motor, again, was a 325 because it's what I got at the time, and I wanted something with decent gas mileage. Well, this thing on a scale from 1 to 10 was probably a 6. Mine, on the other hand, is literally a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's right there, maybe a 9.5 out of 10. I just got a good deal. And I noticed what Kelley Blue Book, they have a motorcycle section, says is a retail price for used four-wheelers, and you can put in the year and everything. So my calculation based off of that was that mine was worth $2,200. I was able to get it for $1,800. But when I went down and saw this piece of garbage down at the auction, I had to leave early, and I asked my boss, what, if you're sticking around, which you have to, it took forever to get down to the aisle where the shipping container and that four-wheeler was at. I told him, if you can pick this up for about $1,000, go ahead and get it. It's worth fixing at that point. I wouldn't pay any more than that. I said, hey, by the way, you got your shipping container? Yeah, I got one, 1,700 bucks. How did that four-wheeler do? Did you watch that four-wheeler? Oh man, $4,200. $4,200, are you kidding me? I'm not kidding you, sold for $4,200. Kelley Blue Book, now mine's the 30 or 325cc, that was a 500cc. And the pull cord on it, that one at the auction, was dangling out of the side. And you can hit, it's got a battery and electric start, but in an emergency, you could pull start it. Well, it was dangling out of the side, wouldn't go back in. I mean, the thing needed work, it was clear. You could look at it and tell this thing's been out and about. Mine, on the other hand, is like, holy crap, it's almost new. So the only difference is the engine. It was a 500cc, mine's a 325. But again, condition-wise, mine will destroy it in every aspect. Kelley Blue Book for that 500cc in excellent condition says it was worth. If mine was $2,200, I think that was $2,400. I think that's what Kelley Blue Book came back at, or $2,250, and it was $2,450. It sold for $4,200. And I remember doing a little video about people being cheap and just, they want to win something. I don't care, I gotta win. You go to these auctions, it's kind of like eBay now, where you got people who just, I gotta win this thing. And then you look at, if this was at a retail price, that means if I walked into a dealer, I should have been able to pick this quad up that I got for $2,200 retail. I paid $1,800 private party, basically, and the auction saying $4,200. So long story short, I'm driving down to the auction right now. While I like to have that little toy, my kids love taking that thing out, well, with me driving, and them sitting on it. We go down to the back of our area, there's a little retention pond that's been dry forever. It's really cool to drive in, as a matter of fact. Kids love it. Every day, Daddy, can we go on the four-wheeler? Daddy, can we go on the four-wheeler? They're probably going to be upset. I told them I'm going to have to sell this thing, but they're probably going to be upset when they come home today and it's not in the garage. But in this economy, you can make money. And as I just told you, this is one way of doing it. I am now going to look on Craigslist for things like this and other things that I can see going down at this auction, selling for a lot more than they're worth because people want them. So if I can flip my four-wheeler, $1,800, and I doubled it for $3,600. This piece of garbage sold for $4,200. $3,600, let's say. I double my money on the four-wheeler. My trailer, $400. I have to be able to sell that for $800, doubling that. I have to. It's got a hydraulic tilt bed. I can actually tilt it down and drive a car onto it, and then tilt it back down with the hydraulic jack that comes with it, that's built into it. And drag a car around on the back of the trailer. That's what it was designed for originally, according to the guy. It even has a winch, electric winch built into it. I mean, come on, I can't get $800 for that? I paid $400. So the purpose of this video is that while these are nice things for me to say, hey, look what I got for this deal, I know I could use that money right now for things like, oh, I don't know, silver, or I don't know, down payment or whatever, partial payment on some property in Tennessee. Exactly. So I used it, went and did my thing in Tennessee. The kids loved it. I thought about keeping it at one point, and then realized, man, no way. After seeing that thing go for $4,200, I am going down there right now. The auction is this Saturday, as a matter of fact, and I'm going to unload this. All I have to pay is 10% auction fee if it sells for over $1,000, and naturally, it's going to sell over $1,000 because I'm going to put a reserve in at probably $3,000, and anything over $3,000 I'll just take. And again, if I can get $3,600, that would be nice, because you know, that would double what I paid for it, minus the 10%, $300 or so. So that's why I'm doing this video. If you know, you don't have to sit there and do a 9-to-5 job every day, Monday through Friday, whatever your hours are, and look at that same exact paycheck that comes in the same exact amount of time. Meanwhile, things around you change in price: food prices, gas prices, electricity, all these unknown variables. I got to go to the hospital, I got to take the kids to get checked out, I got a car repair. But your paycheck doesn't reflect, oh, you had a car repair coming up, or you got one coming up, we'll go ahead and give you a little raise right now. No, you get the same paycheck. So what else can you do to bring in other money? Well, I thought of a few things. One of them is flipping four-wheelers and other things like this at this auction, if this turns out to work out. I really don't think that seeing that thing sell for $4,200, that just because it was a 500cc motor and mine was a 325, that there would really be much of a different price, considering this thing was really bad shape. Mine's in beautiful shape. But we'll see, you never know. The sheeple, man, oh, I need a big motor, big, strong, fast motor, man. I don't want no little small one. And then maybe my thing ain't gonna sell for much. I don't know. We're gonna find out, but I'm going to unload it. Another thing, I decided I'm gonna put up a website. I saw that there's a little bit of demand for hot sauces, like you put on your food, hot sauce. And there's not a lot of competition out there, so I already have the website up, as a matter of fact, but I haven't gotten any product yet. I've got a wholesaler that I just called. I'm gonna try to sell some hot sauce. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't work. I can use just a tiny bit, literally a tiny bit of this money that I'll get for this four-wheeler to go into that. Maybe $200-300, buying a little bit of product, and that's it. I'm gonna ship it myself, so I have no overhead. You know, my website don't cost me anything. So anyways, I'm almost there, and I wanted to share with you, you gotta think outside the box sometimes and find ways of making money. You can do things on Craigslist even, you know, just where there's a will, there's a way. So anyways, that's all I got for you. Take care.